Number 35 is a player that some people would swear must be in the top 20, and some people will swear has to be outside of the top 100. We will do him as our final player on this installment of the 50 greatest players of the last 50 years. He's next. All right, welcome back in. Final segment of today's edition of the 50 greatest players of the last 50 years in the NBA on the What's Right with Nick Wright podcast. Now we are here. Player number 35.
Number 35, Russell Westbrook.
Russ was maybe the single hardest player to rank of this entire enterprise. Because, Russ's regular season accomplishments are up there with the 12, 15 greatest players ever. 2-time first-team All-NBA, 5-time second-team All-NBA, 2-time third-team All-NBA. So he's 9-time All-NBA. He won an MVP. 3 other times he came in top 5. He has 2 scoring titles and 3 assist titles. One of the only players in league history, Tiny Archibald, Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook are the only guys to ever do it once. Russ has done it 2 scoring titles, 3 assist titles. Averaging a triple-double hadn't been done in 50 years. Russ did it 3 straight seasons, then took a year off, did it a 4th straight season. He is going to be known for the triple-doubles, so let's dig in there for a moment. He has 194 career regular season triple-doubles as of this recording. That's not only the most all-time. Only LeBron, Jason Kidd, Magic, and Oscar Robertson even have 100 career regular season triple-doubles. Russ is likely going to finish his career well north of 200 career triple-doubles. In the playoffs, he's 3rd all-time in triple-doubles, okay? So that's the good of Russ. We'll get to the bad in a moment, but you guys know how much playoff stuff matters for me on this. It's unfair and disingenuous to act like Russ never had good playoff moments. He did. So we're going to go in chronological order and we're going to need some time here. In the 2012 finals, the only game the Thunder won in that series, he was 27, 8, and 11 as a kid in the finals. In game 4 of those finals, which they lost, he was the best player on his team by a mile, with no disrespect to Durant. He was 43, 7, and 5 on 20 of 32 from the field in game 4 of those finals. 43, 7, and 5 to try to stay alive instead of falling down 3-1, but they end up losing. For his first finals ever, he's 27, or his only finals, 27, 6, and 7. So we can't act like that didn't happen. Now let's move on to 2014. 2014, he's 27, 10, and 16 on just 16 shots in game 7 of the first round against Memphis. Helped them propel them what would have been a disastrous loss for them. In that same year, Western Conference semis, the next round. You guys remember, everyone remembers the CP3 meltdown game. So the Clippers have the big lead. CP3 tries to draw the foul. He doesn't get it. What gets forgotten is Russ in that game went toe-to-toe with Chris Paul and ate him up. He was 38, 5, and 6, and got fouled at the very end of the game as the Clippers were melting down, hit all 3 free throws to win the game. That very next round, Western Conference Finals, the Thunder are down 2-1 to the Spurs. The Spurs would go on to win the title. Russ was 40, 5, 10, and 5. Up to this point, yes, he was a little inefficient, a little careless with the ball, but nobody was killing Russ. So that's 2014. Let's go to 2016. That's the year the 73-win Warriors were down 3-1 to Russ's and KD's Thunder. Let's talk about what he did there. In round 1 against Dallas, 36, 12, and 9 to send Dallas home. Averaged for games 5 and 6 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Spurs to send them home. Averaged 32, 7, and 12 in those 2 games. So again, it's all going good. To go up 3-1 on the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, averaged 27, 7, and 12, including 36, 11, and 11 in Game 4 to go up 3-1. The problem is since then, shit's gone real sideways. Since then, since the Klay Thompson game, since that moment, and then KD leaves, it's been bad, and it's been bad in the playoffs for 5-6 years. So round one versus Houston, the first year without Durant, he did have a 51, 10, and 13. 51, 10, and a 50-point triple-double in the playoffs. Average for the series, 37, 12, and 11. But despite that, they lost in 5. Why did they lose in 5? Well, because even though Russ was averaging all those points and assists and rebounds, he shot 39% from the field and 27% from 3, and he was shooting 10 threes a game. Then next year in the first round against, I think it was Utah, with Paul George, he had a 45, 15, and 7 to stay alive, and a 46, 10, and 5 in game 6. And if you go back and look at it, that 46, 10, and 5, where they lost, he wasn't good. And that was with Paul George. And then the next year, Dame sends him home, and then Paul George leaves. So his career averages for the playoffs are 25, 7, and 8, which are exceptional. And his career playoff percentages are 40% from the field and 30% from 3, which are awful. So what do you do with Russell Westbrook? I still feel like because it's been so bad as of late, and this last year with the Lakers was such a disaster, people forget how dominant he was at his peak. Flawed, but dominant. The MVP's got to matter. The triple-doubles might have been slightly overrated, but they have to matter to a degree. He was the single hardest player to rank in this entire enterprise. He's player number 35. He's Russell Westbrook. And now we have a surprise questioner. No one has told me who this is. Let's see what the Russell Westbrook question is.
Hey, Nick. Your old buddy Al Renato, a.k.a. Al from White Plains here. Russell Westbrook at 35. We love the effort. We love Mr. Triple-Double. But Russ at 35? Come on, Nick. You've got James Worthy, big game James, 10 spots down the list at 45. You have George Gervin, never been to an NBA final, ahead of big game James. You have Gary Payton, who won a NBA title as a parting gift ahead of big game James. You have Sidney Moncrief, who I loved, one of the triplets from Arkansas, ahead of big game James. But Russ at 35, big game James at 45, one finals appearance for Russ. Big game James, 3 titles. Most valuable player in one of the great Game 7 performances in the history of the National Basketball Association. His numbers in the postseason, leaps and bounds the regular season. This guy got it done when it was the most important time to get it done, while Russ has been a shrinking violet. Move that camera up a little closer in words that I know only you can understand. This old man, he ain't lying.
All right, that's the greatest sports radio caller ever, my friend Alan White Plains. Unfortunately, Alan White Plains, instead of really asking me a Russell Westbrook question, he used his time to really just make the case for James Worthy. James Worthy was a hard one to rank as well, because we talked about it. If you want to go back and listen to the episodes, James Worthy doesn't have the All-NBAs and the MVP votes and all that stuff because of the team he was on, but he was unbelievable in the biggest moments. So I do understand the kind of reversal there. So you have one guy who has all the regular season stuff, all of it, and not a lot of the playoff stuff in Russ. And another guy who has all the playoff stuff, but not a whole lot of the regular season stuff in James. So am I overvaluing the regular season? I would agree possibly if Russ didn't have any substantial playoff moments, but I think I laid out that early in his career, up until Game 5 of the 2016 playoffs and forward, Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, I should say, basically from the moment KD left to now. Up until then, he was actually a very valuable playoff performer. So I think Russ, let me put it like this. Russ's playoff resume, one can make a strong case, is heftier than James Worthy's regular season resume. And Russ's regular season resume is eye to eye with James Worthy's playoff resume. Russ's regular season resume is that of an all-time guy. So again, though, I said at the beginning that Russ was maybe the hardest player to rank. I'm comfortable with Russell Westbrook being the 35th best player of the last 50 years. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.